Agent Ira William Steele, promising young insurance executive, slept through his continuing education course on ethics.
Hello, Will Steele. Will.
The permanent brain cramp he suffered from that mistake led him to a questionable steering relationship with an unethical shop. And customer Amy Faith paid the price. But the stakes would rise even more, and the damage would get even worse when I, William Steele, sold a homeowner's policy that went tragically awry. Former homeowners Scott and Sylvia Trusting.
Will and I go way back, you know. He was more than an agent. He was my friend. Who else are you going to trust to safeguard your home?
We've always been the type of folks to, you know, keep our business at home. With friends, with people you can trust. That's why Scott went with Will. Besides, I really liked his hair.
It's a really nice neighborhood you got here.
We like it.
If anybody needs insurance, you just give them my card.
Okay. So my policy is going to be in effect today, right?
Yeah, just make the check out to me and we'll be all square, my friend.
So, where do I sign?
Well, there's nothing to sign. No, not right now, anyway. You'll get everything you need in the mail in a couple of weeks. It's kind of like an auto policy.
But the coverages we discussed, they're in effect, right? I mean, I'm doing a lot of remodeling, and my wife says I have no business being near power tools or anything flammable.
You're snug as a bug in a rug, my friend. Now, about that check.
Nothing personal, Will, but my wife would feel a lot better if I had something to hang on to here.
Try this on for size.
That'll do for both of us, I guess.
Have a great day.
Two things I made perfectly clear to Scott when we got married. Never accept anything on a handshake. I mean, just because his name is Trusting doesn't mean he actually has to be trusting. Oh, and the other, Scott has no business being anywhere near power tools or anything flammable.
Sadly for Scott, not heeding his wife's cautionary tale would come back to haunt him in the worst way. Weeks passed, and still no policy information came in the mail. Scott tried phone calls.
Will Steele, please.
Emails. Even wrote a polite letter. No response from I Will Steele. Finally, a trip to the office seemed to put things to rights. But unbeknownst to Scott,
I said you're going to jail.
I Will Steele was far from being in the clear.
You got insurance?
Scotty, I was just going to call you.
Getting nervous, Will. Of greater concern, my wife's getting nervous. Where's that information you promised?
Got nothing to worry about. I called headquarters and gave them a piece of my mind when I got your news. I was away on business.
Your Bahama pictures are in, Mr. Steele.
I'll get them later, Irene.
I really need that homeowner's information if I'm going to get out of Dutch with my wife.
Seriously, you'll get it within a week. I had to do some serious digging for your policy info, you know. Well, what are you going to do? It's tough to get good admin these days. In fact,
what?
Well, there's a subsection of the policy that was recently upgraded. So I fronted him the money, but I'm going to need another 100 from you today to cover both me and it.
Hang on. For a policy I haven't received yet?
Sure you have. You just haven't physically received it yet. It's kind of like when you drive the car home without the title. Remember, it's still your car, even without the title.
Where do you want this one, Mr. Steele?
Just set her down over there. I'll get to it later. Where were we?
Okay, Will. 1 week. I'm trusting you here.
I know. I know it's your name. Don't wear it out.
I'm glad we see eye to eye.
What are friends for? Irene?
Mr. Steele.
What was the name of that administrator up at the state commissioner's office? I think I have something he's going to want.
Sooner or later, if you play with fire, you're going to get burned.
As it turned out, it wasn't Scott's fault at all. Just a little quirk in the wiring that went bad one weekend while we were away.
I remember using the cell to call the insurance company 800 number to file the claim, thinking how glad I was I went to Steele's office that day. My house just went up in flames. I'd like to file a claim. I don't have a policy number yet. It's in the mail. Trusting. Scott Trusting. What do you mean there's no policy in force? Oh, no. That can't be. That can't be.
As you might have guessed, Ira William Steele never put that policy in force, setting off a tour de force of action and reprisals. Scott Trusting filed a formal complaint with the State Insurance Commission, one that was soon followed by a six-figure lawsuit. Amy Faith saw the Trusting story in the news and was urged to file legal action of her own. Both cases await large judgment awards from the state judicial system. Ed Despair also awaits hearings on several formal complaints and charges. But for Ira William Steele, once an up-and-coming insurance agent with good friends and a bright future, the fruits of temptation were too difficult to resist. These dastardly offerings led him down a dark path to an unethical place he never imagined. And not so long after Will fell asleep during that fateful continuing education course on ethics and insurance, I. Will Steele was forced to pay a hefty, life-altering price for his behavior. But this is the price that is often paid on the C.E. True Hollywood Story.